Everyone at the gym called him Old Timer. He'd exercise quietly in the corner, never talking to anyone. The young trainer smiled and said, "Amateur movements." But then the man opened his gym bag, and what came out wiped that smile right off the trainer's face. Because that medal wasn't just any medal. Connor McDonald was 26 years old, fresh out of university, and saw himself as the rising star of the fitness world. He worked at Iron Peak Gym in Toronto, one of the city's most prestigious fitness centres. His client list included actors, athletes, and influencers. For Connor, this wasn't just a job, it was his life. Every morning at 6 a.m., he'd open the gym, check the equipment, and greet the day's first clients. But for the past 3 weeks, the same man had been coming every morning. An old man. Connor called him Old Timer. The man appeared to be in his 70s, grey-haired, wrinkled face, carrying an old-style gym bag. Every morning he'd arrive quietly, go to the bench press in the corner, work with weights, and leave without talking to anyone. Connor and the other trainers made jokes about him. "The old guy came again today," they'd say. "I wonder when he'll realize this isn't his league." This morning was no different. Connor was talking with Tyler, a young bodybuilder and one of his clients, when the old man quietly walked in again. "Look, there he is," Tyler said, laughing. "This guy's here every day, but his form is terrible. It's like he's never trained properly." Connor nodded. "I know. I watched him doing squats yesterday. Position completely wrong. Someone should tell him." "You tell him then. You're the trainer." Connor thought about it. Maybe he was right. Maybe he should teach that old man a few things. After all, Connor had a kinesiology degree and was a certified personal trainer. This old man was just an old man. The old man lay down on the bench press. He started lifting weights. Connor watched closely. Movement tempo was slow, breath control irregular, form not quite right. "Okay, time to intervene," Connor muttered to himself. He walked over to the old man. "Hey, sorry to interrupt, but I'd like to help with your form." The old man stopped, put the weights back, and looked at Connor. His eyes. Connor noticed. These eyes were calm. Very calm. No reaction, no irritation. "Please," the old man said quietly. "So," Connor said in his professional tone, "when you bench press, your elbows are too far out. This will damage your shoulders. And the tempo, you're lifting too slowly. You should be controlled in the eccentric phase, but explosive in the concentric phase." The old man nodded. "I understand. Thank you." Connor smiled. He'd done good work. "Also," he added, "these weights might be a bit heavy for you. Maybe we could start lighter?" The old man nodded again. "Maybe you're right." Connor walked away proudly. Tyler gave him a thumbs up. "Good job, man. Someone had to tell him." But the old man didn't change anything. He continued using the same weights, same slow tempo, same form. Connor sighed. Some people refuse to learn, he thought. It was 2 p.m. The gym was crowded. Connor was working with a new client when he heard a sound from the locker room. Something had fallen. "Can you check, Connor?" said Emma at reception. "I think the old man dropped something." Connor walked toward the locker room. The old man was kneeling on the floor, trying to pick up items that had fallen from his gym bag. Water bottle, towel, and... Connor froze. On the floor, fallen from the old man's bag, lay a shining gold medal. But this wasn't just any medal. It had writing on it. Olympic Games, weightlifting, gold medal. Connor's heart raced. This can't be real." The old man picked up the medal, quietly put it in his bag, and stood up. He looked at Connor. "Sorry," the old man said. "I dropped it." Connor couldn't find words. You, that medal?" The old man smiled. For the first time, he was smiling. From the old days. "An Olympic gold medal? Weightlifting? 1976, Montreal." Connor's world spun. The 1976 Montreal Olympics. That was one of the world's most prestigious sporting competitions, and this old man, had won a gold medal. But, but you, my name is Robert, the old man said. Robert Beaumont. They used to call me Beaumont, the Canadian bear. Connor's mouth hung open. The Canadian bear. He'd heard that name. A legendary weightlifter in sports history. A man who broke world records in the 1970s, competed in 3 Olympic cycles, and then, one day vanished. You're the Canadian bear? Robert nodded. I used to be. Connor was still in shock. But why didn't you tell anyone? Why do you come and go so quietly? Robert shrugged. Because I'm not that man anymore. Those days are behind me. Now I'm just an old man who exercises. But you're a legend. People should know you, learn from you. Robert looked at Connor with those calm eyes. Connor, with those calm eyes. Connor, can I talk to you? Of course. They both sat on the bench in the locker room. Robert began to speak. I started weightlifting at 18. I came from a poor family. We lived in a small apartment in Montreal. My father was a factory worker, my mother a seamstress. But I was strong, and I worked very hard. Connor listened. The mocking attitude was gone now. Only respect remained. At 22, I won my first national championship. At 24, I broke a world record. And at 26, in 1976, I won the Olympic gold medal. Incredible, Connor said. But then, Robert continued, I got older. I got injured. I retired in 1984. And I was forgotten. People started watching new champions. I became just a name in history. But you're still a legend, Robert smiled. Maybe. But that's not why I come here now. I come here because I still love lifting. I love that feeling the weight pressing on my hands, feeling my muscles work. This keeps me alive. Connor nodded. I understand. And thank you for the advice you gave me. You're right. My form isn't what it used to be. My body isn't what it used to be. But that doesn't matter to me, because I'm not competing anymore. I'm just living. Connor felt ashamed. I'm sorry. I was too arrogant. No, Robert said. You were doing your job. As a trainer, you were trying to correct my form. That's a good thing. But sometimes we forget that everyone has their own story. Everyone has their own reason for being here. Connor nodded. You're right. Robert stood up. I need to go now. But Connor, I want to tell you something. Yes? You're a good trainer. You have knowledge, you have passion. But remember, not everyone is like you. Some people aren't here to break records. Some people are here just to survive. Connor learned a lesson that day he would never forget. Technical knowledge was important. Form was important. Science was important. But most important, every person had their own story. From that day on, Connor treated Robert differently. He no longer tried to correct him. He just showed respect. And sometimes, Robert would tell stories. That final in Montreal, the moment he broke the world record, the days he trained with famous coaches. The other gym members learned too. Robert Beaumont, the Canadian bear. A legend was among them, and everyone started seeing him differently. But Robert didn't change. He still came quietly, still worked in the corner, still lifted weights with the same slow tempo, because he was someone who had nothing left to prove. He was just a man living, still doing what he loved. And Connor? He was a different trainer now. Looking at each client, he'd think, I wonder what this person's story is. Because he'd learned, sometimes the quietest people have the greatest stories. One morning, Connor was watching Robert bench press. Tyler came over. Still the same slow tempo, Tyler said. Connor smiled. Yes, but you know what? That tempo is his tempo. And who knows, maybe there are things we can learn from him. Like what? Endurance, passion, and never giving up. Tyler nodded. You're right. Because Robert Beaumont the Canadian Bear, wasn't just someone who won a gold medal. He was someone who came to the gym every day of his life, never quit, still loved lifting. And that perhaps was worth more than any medal. Connor understood that day. Real strength isn't measured by how much weight you can lift. Real strength is measured by how long you can keep going. And Robert Beaumont? He was still going.